Hey, good afternoon, people, or good morning, or good evening, wherever you are. Peace and power to everybody who's going to tune in for one of my express microwave lives, whether it be um, in the chat or playback. I want to thank y'all for watching, giving me a view. If possible, if you feel like it, give me a like. I'll really appreciate that. And if you so find it necessary, man, share my shit. I respect everybody's opinions, just respect mine. But anyway, I want to start off with, what up, John Dealey? How you doing, man? I want to start off with this conversation and this debacle that I've been seeing around the YouTube boxing community. And actually, I've seen it on people who are not a part of the YouTube boxing community about with this BFTB dude. I remember when I first came around YouTube boxing, he was one of the first channels, because I used to be on the LDBC channels a lot. There's a lot of these LDBC channels. And within one or two listens, I stopped listening to this person. BFTB is one of the most mentally deranged individuals I had the displeasure of listening to. Just, what up, Madam Machine? Just how irrationally hyped up he was over sometimes nothing. Just how irrationally spiteful and loud this dude was. It was just the strangest situation. I found him and Fred Barbershop to be such off-putting characters. And this is before whatever happened with BFTB and whatever happened with Fred. Just their whole demeanor, I guess people will call it aura. Just their whole energy was so off-putting and just so dank. There was a stench coming off these people through the goddamn screen. And within one or two views, I stopped listening to both these people. Peace and power, Lisa Bales. I'm telling you, within one or two listens, I had already stopped listening to people, to these people. You can pick up from somebody, well, yeah, this is somebody I'm not going to be around for long. I'm not going to be able to listen to. And when I see this come out, it's sad, but it's really not surprising that a person like this would be involved in something like that. A person who obviously has his own internal issues, who seeks to already demean others and to project himself as a greater character than he really is. I'm not surprised that he would be a predator. That's not surprising at all. Because being a sex predator is usually not about sex. It's usually about projecting power over people that you deem weaker than yourself. Being a predator, a sex predator, let me say it again, is really not about sex. It's about projecting power or influence over people that you deem weaker than yourself, whether it be physically weaker, economically weaker. It's about projecting your own power over those people. And when you see him on a live stream, BFTB, and even Fred sometimes, but especially BFTB, when you see people like him on a live stream, you see how he treats people who call in or challenge him. He tends to want to overtalk them, bully them on the stream, hang up on them, cut them off, because he wants to project power. When you look at him, this dude can't be more than, he can't be 6 feet. And he can't be more than 130 pounds. This dude looks sick. He looks malnourished. So it's not surprising that a person like him would seek to influence people in a negative way, using whatever little influence he has over them, and make them do things that he wants them to do. Because in his own personal life, he's probably one of the saddest individuals ever. And it comes out that he really is. He's a sex predator. He's a sex fiend. I heard the audio. I heard the audio of him talking to this man about his daughter. His daughter, Bridget. And if if you hear that sound in the background, that is a drill. They're doing some construction in the building right now. So, if it's a bother, let me know. But this man is a sex predator. What's even more shocking, or not so shocking, is the fact that his LDBC brethren are embracing him. That's not surprising either. Yo, what's up, Black? Lisa Bales in the building. Peace and power to you, sister. Anybody want to hop on? Let me know what's up. As I was saying, so he's being embraced by his LDBC brethren. His scumbags, in his cohort scumbags. These fake pro-black people. It's not surprising, but it's also a bit shocking in a way that even that not even these people find any sort of moral stance on. Yeah, bro, you're a sex fiend. You're a sex predator. We can't have you around us. You got to go clear that up. You're going to make the group look bad. Not even that is an issue for these people. This man went on Dr. Evil show, what he named Fanon, another deranged individual. And Fanon embraced this dude. I'm not sure about the other people, but I'm telling you, these LDBC cats, man, the people in the chat who are saluting BFTB and what's up, bro, and King and all, people calling him King. Bro, what the But anyway, it's a good thing that I don't go around these LDBC channels no more. I'm a true supporter of my people. I'm a man of morals. And that's why I couldn't have been around these LDBC cats. They fake pro-black. And now they now they have fake morals. The scale starts to slides and shifts when it comes to integrity and morals. Like if it's somebody who you cool with, no matter what they do, you cool with them. But if somebody else does the same thing, that's fucked up. You want to project your issues and your deranged behavior on other people. Nasty pedophiles. I see who all LDBC from now on. A bunch of pedophile lovers. I don't want to hear shit. I remember these people went in on Kovalev. Oh, Kovalev did this to this woman and nobody talking about it. Nobody talking about it. What about, like when Devin Haney made his comments, the first thing they said was, oh, look at Kovalev. They didn't make no big deal out of Kovalev. But you have somebody in your direct organization or whatever you want to call that. He's a sex predator, registered sex predator. And that's cool, right? In the black community, we got issue that nobody likes to talk about. And I only talk about my community because maybe it's in other communities too, but let me speak about my community only. We have issues of sex predators in our families. There's a lot of pedophilia that goes on in black households and black families that we don't talk about. You got that uncle that touches people. You got that auntie that likes young boys. And we don't talk about that. So here you have another example of a black person. I wouldn't call him a man, a black person who's out here as a registered sex fiend. This man was on a military base sexually harassing his subordinates. And then on live stream asking another man to show him his daughter. What? Yo, anybody who scream LDBC to me from now on, nah, bro, I gotta watch a little funny. I can't be associated with no group whose morals and integrity is on this sliding scale. You know, it shifts like sand under your feet. That's fucked up. Anyway. That's it from me with this weirdo. But again, man, there was a reason why I just, this BFTB dude came off like somebody that I could not listen to. The most obnoxious, the most venomous, the most poisonous person, probably in the YouTube boxing community. Just deranged. But anyway. That's it for me on that, man. I don't want to talk about BFTB no more. If anybody else wants to say anything, that's up to you. I just think it's disgusting. I don't play around when it comes to kids. I got 2 sons of my own. I'm very careful with them because I'm well aware that pedophiles are all around us. What are we going to talk about now, man? Oh. Eddie Hearn's latest interview on ifltv, probably one of his best interviews. I haven't heard from Eddie Hearn in a while. I really haven't heard from Eddie Hearn in a while, but this was a pretty good interview by him and Coogan. Eddie Hearn is ramping up for the return of matchroom boxing. He's announced, he had announced the backyard fights, his fight camp, he calls it, at the matchroom headquarters. And he also announced a setup in Tulsa, which is going to take place on the streets of Tulsa, which I saw a mock-up of it. And I got to say, Eddie Hearn has the right idea, right? I'll try and find a mock-up of it in the meantime. But Eddie Hearn spoke on a few things in the interview with Coogan Cassius. One of the things he spoke about is women's boxing. And he's saying, to him, women's boxing is creeping up on men's boxing. And what he means by that is, he's saying women's boxing, the women are putting out more effort into their careers than the men. And I would have to agree with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, women's boxing has definitely taken an uptick since Eddie Hearn kind of came over to the States. And I think he worked with some of Lou DiBella's people, because Lou DiBella was also pushing women's boxing in America, but it really had no cachet in America after the whole Layla Ali retirement. So Eddie Hearn comes to America, and since that time, women's boxing has taken a definite uptick. He's put them on his shows, put them at prime time. You know, we all remember the Delphine Pursuing Katie Taylor at Madison Square Garden, probably the best fight of the night. What up, Intangible? What's up? What's up, Brother Shah? How you doing? Peace, peace, King. JP says, if we don't get the fights, we deserve boxing to go back. Hey, man. If after this COVID situation, these dudes don't come out. Mr. Jefferson, good day, sir.
What's up? Man,
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing, bro?
I'm all right, bro.
What are you eating, D?
How you know? Yeah, I am too. I'm just eating a sandwich, man.
All right, man. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You eat that lettuce sandwich, right? It must be tasty.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean?
Nah, I started off just now talking about, the whole BFTB debacle and,
Oh yeah.
just how you have an organization who still embraces this dude where they talk about morals and integrity, but their morals and integrity, it's shifty. It's like sand under your feet. You know what I mean? They have a sliding scales of morals and integrity, where they want to attack other people about that, but don't have the same energy for people in their own organization. But, I didn't spend too much time on that, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's evident though in our culture, like even in different situations. Like when you look at the Bambaataa situation.
Yeah.
Like the guys hovered around him, they knew what he was doing.
That's right.
But because they believed in him and what they were doing, and they try to mask it, cover it up, accept it, make excuses for him.
They sacrifice kids for this dude, right?
Right. So I mean, and it's prevalent in other situations. I could go on and on. You know how many homes in America, African American homes, where this molestation and this shit is happening, and people are so embarrassed. They get defensive if somebody says something about it. But this shit should be coming out. I don't care if it's your uncle or your dad.
No, that's real talk. I mean, that's not even African American. That's even down here.
But I mean, but it's just prevalent that I say African American because the LDBC is that.
Yeah, but
that mentality is something that's common in more than one way. That's why I mentioned African hip hop. That's all I'm saying. Like listen, I always equate it to our people because our people point the finger, bro. And I'm going to continue to do that. And I know black people get mad at me when I do that, but you're agreeing right now that these are things we have to hold ourselves accountable for.
Sure.
And we're not doing it. So anytime I get the opportunity to show our black people the multitude of things that we're not holding ourselves accountable for, it makes you think, should we start pointing the finger or keep crying and pointing the finger, or should we start holding ourselves accountable for and doing things differently? Because look at these conversations that I keep engaging in, but there's different topics that I'm talking about what we're not holding ourselves accountable for.
Right. No, because before you came on, I did say, like, in our own communities, we have these people in our families. We have a lot of pedophilia in our communities, but we don't say nothing about it, right?
Say nothing about it.
We don't say nothing about it, right? We do, but it's like you can't want to project that on other people when bro, you gotta deal with shit. Also, I mean, you can walk on true government, you can call out what's happening externally, but you also have to fix what's happening internally at the same time.
Exactly.
You can do both. You know what I'm saying? You don't sit here and be like, nah, I'm not gonna say nothing about my shit, but you want to call out that. So what I'm saying is, a dude like BFTB, I was saying earlier, like, when I first came on YouTube boxing, I remember tuning into people like BFTB, and within 1 or 2 watches, I knew, like, I couldn't listen to this dude because this guy is a weirdo. Like, this guy he's irrationally just hyped up, irrationally mean, irrationally emotional over boxing. Like, why are you so, like, what's up with you? So you already picked up there was something off about this cat, right? So, and I was saying, like, a person like him with his energy, it matches him, like this act matches him perfectly, because being a sex predator usually is not about sex. It's about projecting your power on somebody else. It's about being able to take advantage of somebody smaller than you, somebody in a weaker economic position, a subordinate. Rapists, like psychologists say, like, rape usually is about power. Somebody exerting power over somebody. And he does that even on his live stream. Like, if you correct him on something, he goes off. Who you talking to? You know what I'm saying? So he wants to project his power on you. This dude obviously is not a very big person. So behind his screen, he's a giant. You know what I'm saying? So that's how he wants to tell this dude, put his daughter on the phone. That's why you find articles that this person getting in trouble on a military base for making sexual advantage at a subordinate. Because it's about projecting power over somebody in a weaker position than you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it just matches up to his personality type. So it's like, bro, I get it. I get it. It's sad, but it's not surprising coming from somebody like you, because I see that you try to do that shit even on boxing streams. But anyway,
right. And what I was saying yesterday, fam, it was like he's sitting up there. He did a 3 hour live. I don't know, to I don't know 150, 139 people listening to him plead a case that he pled to the military courts and was found guilty. And I'm like, why are you still pleading this same case, bro? You're guilty of that already. And they're listening to him backing that like it's valid. No. It's been listened to by reasonable people. And they said, listen, sir, we don't believe your story. That's bullshit. You're guilty.
You're guilty.
But now you idiots are sitting up there listening to it like it's valid. Like, what's wrong with people?
Bro, I don't know what's going on. But again, it just goes to show we got a serious fucking problem in our community, bro. Even this battle rapper Tech 9, who killed himself, right? Mm-hmm. Tech 9 killed himself because he was on the verge of going to jail for sexual misconduct for minors. Mm-hmm. Right? This man took pills, killed himself, and then he came out. The court, his name was Hakeem something. He was going to prison for that shit, and he couldn't deal with that because, well, obviously it's a big embarrassment, and I mean, and he killed himself. Mm-hmm. And you see people like, oh, what's up, salute king? I'm like, salute who king? Who the fuck is a king? Mike, what's going on? We got a serious problem, bro. We got a serious problem. And anyway, man. Anyway, I was gonna go on and talk about Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn did this interview with Kugan Cassius, and he was talking about, one of his first topics was like women's boxing. He was like saying women's boxing is creeping up on men's boxing. And what he means by that is the women are taking risks and taking opportunities that the men are not. And he's saying, like, I see some people criticizing saying, oh, women's boxing is not pay-per-view. He's not talking about no. He's saying if these women keep it up, if they keep this up, there's going to come a time when women's boxing reaches almost parity with men's boxing. Because the women are stepping up. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when Strike Force, despite popular belief, because I know now women's boxing is big in the UFC, there was a time when Dana White had actually said women will never fight in the UFC. And that was when Scott Coker and Strikeforce did the first big women's bout on CBS. I remember that quite well, when it was Chris Cyborg versus Gina Carano. That was the first big women's bout. Man, what's that, D?
No, that was my phone alarm. Sorry about that.
Yeah, okay. So Strikeforce, Scott Coker was the one who first brought women's MMA big into mainstream, whatever. That's where Chris Cyborg came from. She came from Strikeforce. And Gina Carano. Matter of fact, Chris Cyborg beat Gina Carano so bad that she never fought again. She's now in movies, in Fast and Furious movies, right? And look at where women's MMA is now. Women's MMA in the UFC are now headlining cards, making big stars, right? And what Eddie Hearn is saying, boxing is really a bigger sport than MMA. And if the women keep doing this in boxing, they might reach parity sooner rather than later, because, and I have to agree, because some of these men just blatantly don't want opportunities. Don't want any opportunities. They just say no to opportunities. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. So I really have to see the point and the value in what Eddie Hearn is saying, and I'm just wondering what y'all think about it. D, you there? Oh, D's probably busy. But if y'all in the chat, tell me what y'all feel.
I'm here. I was saying yeah, but I was on mute. I didn't know I was on mute. But no, I was listening. Yeah.
Go ahead, D. You any comment on that?
I think that it can very well be the case, because look at how the UFC is gaining traction and closing in on boxing, and
Right.
well, particularly men's boxing. You know, because they just too much messing around.
That's
Too
right.
many guys saying they're not fighting without this and they're not fighting without that and they're not taking pay cuts. Too many promoters delaying everything, promoters and networks delaying everything for the fans. So we're getting mediocre or low-level fights. We're not being entertained by men's boxing. And you have the UFC over here entertaining every weekend.
That's
You
right.
have women's boxing, which is you know, on the open spectrum, more entertaining anyway, because they let their hands go. But
That's
guys
right.
just you know, used to and wanting to see the knockouts. So you'll get more of that in men's boxing. But it's not like if men's boxing is lacking, and then you look at these women fights and they're letting their hands go, like I said, and it's exciting, then it's going to draw the attention. So you're getting the attention drawn from two ways, from the UFC, then you start to get it from women's boxing, and both of them are giving you what men's boxing is not, excitement. So yeah, it could gain traction, a lot of traction. You know.
My bad. Yeah, hey man, I'm telling you, you got somebody like Katie Taylor who's gonna do a Delphine Persoon rematch, and like Eddie said, she didn't have to fight Delphine Persoon again because you know she had a very rough fight with Delphine Persoon at Madison Square Garden. It was controversial, but she won. Delphine Persoon is not one of her mandatories, but she's like, man, let's go. 7 weeks out, you know, let's go. You had Amanda Serrano, who had all these excuses why she's not going to fight Katie Taylor, all these weird excuses. You know, oh, you know, I haven't been training, like it's in New York or whatever. Like Katie Taylor is training in New York too. You know what I'm saying? And now you have Delphine Persoon saying, yeah, 7 weeks out, I'll fight this lady again. I'll beat her ass this time. Let's go. So how are you going to tell me? How are you going to tell me these dudes out here, Billy Joe Saunders, 12 weeks out from a Canelo fight, I'm not ready. I'm ruling myself out the fight. I don't have proper sparring. I don't have this. I don't have that. But neither does fucking Canelo. You know what I'm saying? You have
GGG. Like
GGG.
You and your fans feel like you was muffed out of a couple of situations. Get in there and make it right.
I'm saying the fight comes. Nah, we don't want the fight. We don't fight our mandatory. What? You know what I'm saying?
Caleb Plant. No excuse not to take that fight.
The Caleb Plant situation, right? You know, it really pissed me off because I really thought this man had the David Benavidez fight lined up. I really thought so. So I was like, yeah, man, he shouldn't take the fight. He's going to unify with Benavidez, not knowing he don't have shit. He don't have no fights lined up.
Nothing.
What the fuck? You know, I'm like, man. So you have people like the whole Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence, you know, he on the wrong side of the street. Terrence Crawford, I'm A side. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Deontay Wilder, not about the belts, it's about the money. What, bro? The men, in my opinion, have been spoiled because, yeah, of course, men's boxing is more popular, has more of a history. But of course, definitely. But the men know, the boxers know, have been spoiled, you know, by the gains made by the boxers in the past, and know they fucking up, and the women are creeping up. You have Cecilia Brækhus, undisputed, going to fight in Tulsa for Eddie Hearn, right? You know, I mean, you name it. You have so many instances of men boxers not taking opportunities. So I agree with Eddie Hearn, man. If the UFC can do it, so can them. So can Matchroom, at the very least. You know?
Don't let that Layla Ali, Clarissa Shields.
Oh my God.
That's gonna really bring massive attention to their sport.
If that shit pops off, shit. That's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. You know what I'm saying? But speaking of Eddie Hearn and his return to fight sport, so he's lining up for a fight camp coming up soon, and he's already announced where he's gonna be come of next few months. He's gonna be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know, Eddie Hearn is saying, look, we don't want to come back in the studio. We don't want to come back and do what everybody's doing. We're going to come back and we're going to put our fight on the street of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I have a video of the area. Let me see if we can play it for y'all.
That's bugged out.
Let me see if we can play this. Let me see what we got here. All right, here we go. Here we go. Y'all seeing this?
Yeah. Oh,
great. Here we go. So this is it. This is the advertisement for it.
Wow. Take it into the street. You kidding me?
What the fuck is going on? My palm tree Wi-Fi stopped?
Bro, that's crazy. So they're gonna set up like an arena in the streets?
Yep.
That's innovative, if anything, I tell you that. And then
I'm telling you. So Eddie Hearn's coming back to America, D, and he's saying he's not gonna do nothing, nothing small. He's gonna do it big.
Yeah.
I guess if you're gonna do boxing with no crowds and you have to like tailor make it for viewing at home, you have to do something creative, right? You can't just put the shit in a goddamn studio. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And then that may make the I don't know, the officials believe it's a little safer because it's outside. It's not in an enclosed venue.
Right. What's up, 1-2 Kid?
Hey, what's going on, yo?
What's up,
I was just saying, man, that's promoting right there.
Yeah.
What's going on? That's promoting right there. That's what you got to do. And he's investing in what he does. And that's what these fighters got to do. They got to invest time in what they do. I mean, with the pandemic and everything going on, does that mean you stop doing what you do and that you're good at? You know what I'm saying? Like, you still got to do it. You can't complain about pay cuts and money if you ain't putting in no work. You got to put in the work, and then you go from there. And people will remember that you did it. You was out there doing it and showing love, and you was out there staying sharp. So they just got to put the work in, man, when it comes to the fighters. I agree with Aya Kong in that, and I also agree with Eddie Hearn's doing. He's pushing and he's invested in what he's got going on. So I think that's a great move on his part.
What gives you, Lisa Bales says, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, it gives me Django vibes. What gives you Django vibes, Lisa Bales? I don't, explain further for me, sister. What's Django about it? But anyway, no, well, his comments about the women boxers in comparison to the male boxers, as you said, and D said, 1-2 Kid, the male boxers are just fucking lazy. They're lazy and they're ungrateful. And, they, you know, it's not like people are asking you to make a couple $100,000. They're like, yo, could you just shave $1 million off, $1 million here and there off? You know, I think Hearn even said in his interview, let me put the link in there because I want y'all to know what the fuck I'm talking about. Let me put the link in the chat. He said, you know, the promoters take all of this. Nobody feels sorry for the promoter. You know what I'm saying? Because he was on talking about the sanctioning bodies. He's like, sanctioning bodies still got their hand out. Even in this COVID corona time, when ain't shit going on. Because I think Kugan Cassius asked him, like, would Anthony Joshua have to give up belts because it's so much fees he has to pay? And he's like, I don't know. I mean, eventually he might have to because he don't want to be paying all these sanctioning bodies all this money, especially in the corona time. Ain't no money around anyway. And sanctioning bodies don't care. They just want their money. So fighters need to understand all of that. Like if a promoter asks you, bro, could you just, you know, work with me here, shave a couple dollars off of that for me so we can get the fight on. You know what I'm saying? their fighters will say, as D said, no, I'm not taking no pay cut. So they rather sit at home and do nothing rather than come out and make some money and entertain the crowd. UFC fighters don't make as much as boxers.
Not even close.
Not even close. And these motherfuckers, Masvidal just took a 1 week notice fight. 1 week notice fight. And Billy Joe Saunders can't take 10 weeks notice. What the yo? You know what I'm saying? So this is what go ahead.
They're not acting like warriors no more. They're acting like divas.
Man, that's
what it is. And if that's what you do in life, then why ain't you doing it? If you're a promoter, you promote. That's why I be giving heat to Earl on the way he does Bud. He could put more work into promoting Bud. Bud is still paying him. He's not getting a pay cut from Bud. He still gets that percentage. And if Bud ain't a big name, that's on Bob.
Right.
Bud performs. If he's not pushing him, then that's the problem. He's not doing that. And if the boxers don't want to get out there and do what they do, then what can they complain about?
Facts.
You know I don't know what else to do with these people, because it's like boxers make, heads over MMA fighters, but they do less. And I agree with Eddie Hearn. Push the women fighters. The women want to fight. I'll watch it. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? I'll watch. You know what I'm saying I'll watch a women's MMA fight. I'll watch a women's boxing fight. Some people are still on the sexist shit where they don't want to. They're not going to pay for women fighting. Well, you're not going to pay for no fighting because the men ain't fighting neither.
The men stepping down, the women stepping up.
Fuck that.
That's what's happening. You know what I mean? So hey, you got to get with the program. And I said that before. Like when Eddie Hearn was talking about putting fights on, I'm like, he's trying to get his feet wet because we don't know how long this thing gonna last. And you want to have one foot in that. You don't want to be jumping in brand new because everybody will be ahead of you and how they deal with things and how they promote things, because they know the ins and outs. So you want to jump in as soon as you can. You don't stop pushing just because things get, tough. You strategize, you work it out. And if the UFC's doing it, Top Rank's doing it, a lot of folks is doing it, then you want to get in it. You want to make things happen. And then you're taking them crowd. You're taking that casual crowd that's at home, not doing much, looking for something on television. And then you gravitate in that casual fan to watch you. And if you're the one out there fighting, you're the one that they're gonna remember. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good way to build your name too.
Right.
That's why I said it's right now is the time for all of these young guns and these guys that haven't had the opportunity to get in front of the man. Right now, it's time for them to talk to whoever they with and let them shine. Be like, fight each other, take every opportunity you can, because it's easy for them to get in now. If things return to the way they were before, it's gonna go right back to being where they get in, where they fit in. Right now, it's the opportunity because these guys being divas. So show the world your talents. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I agree with that, because it's like if you're a young fighter, okay, these major guys don't want to fight, right? No problem. Well, I'll take your spot. I'll fight, no problem. Put me on the goddamn the zone stream. Put me on. I'll fight. I'm not making no money anyway. So just put me on and fight. Let people see me then. If Billy Joe Saunders don't want to fight, if Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, these people don't want to fight, I'll fight. That's no problem.
You know what? They might blow past some fighters too, because you know why? Because ain't no guarantee they're gonna love you next year.
Hey,
you know what I mean? And you staying relevant, and you not staying relevant on Twitter or social media. You staying relevant doing your job. So you know what I mean? That says everything. What you say, what you do, you go by their actions. If they out there doing what they're supposed to do, then you follow that. It's that simple. Just get out there and put that work in, and it'll pay off. I think it's gonna pay off for the fighters that are staying active, because these guys are gonna be sharp, while these other dudes, they're gonna be, they're gonna be a little dusty, they're gonna be a little rusty. And these boys sharp because they've been in there on and on and on, and you just sparring and shit. And it's just like, yeah, well, that ain't fighting. That ain't under the lights.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
That's right. One of the things Eddie Hearn covered, I think, to the end of his interview, Eddie Hearn, said like his ultimate goal is to control the sport of boxing. Eddie Hearn is a big fan of Dana White. And what he said was Dana has, even though his sport is not as big as boxing, the model of UFC is better than boxing because he can make the fights that need to be made, right? So Eddie Hearn is saying that he wants to, at some point in his lifetime, have it where he's controlling boxing, where he has the fighters, he has like one organization. And I think that's kind of what PBC was, well, supposed to have been. It was supposed to have been that. But PBC wants to straddle the line between the normal boxing politics and the UFC model. And those two things do not go together. PBC, in how it's set up, is supposed to be like have their own belt, have their own whatever, because you don't want to work with other people anyway, but you still want to impose yourself, in between the sanctioning bodies and other fighters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Man, I tell you like this, that is idealistic and extremely ambitious for her to bump this damn head. It's too many. And I mean, seriously, bro, there's too many variables. He can gain a lot of control.
Yeah.
But in this sport, until you get rid of all of these belts and many different sanctioning bodies, and you're not going to be able to gain that kind of control in boxing. No one person, no one organization would ever be able to gain that kind of control in boxing. Dana White doesn't have 4 sanctioning bodies. He does not have 4 sanctioning. So before Hearn, it's not about getting like most of the belts and most of the fighters. They're going to lose eventually as well. People still going to watch other networks and promotional teams and such. When you have 4 different sanctioning bodies and they generally all crooked, getting paid off, you can never have that type of control in boxing. But first, for us to even think about it, I would think you would have to consolidate that to 2 sanctioning bodies and just 1 belt for the championship. You would first have to do that for the champion. That would be the first move you'd have to make.
Let me play what Eddie Hearn said because I want to make sure I got his words correct. Let me make sure. All right.
Right.
Entire screen. Tell me if y'all hear it, okay?
All right.
Start. Delegate. No, you got.
Here it's just low.
It's low?
Yeah.
Why the fuck is it low? Anyway, man. I'm not gonna fight with this today. So
Right.
Let me get off that.
I agree with D on that. That there are too many variables. There's always gonna be a fighter that's not with your team that people are gonna say you need to fight that guy. There's always gonna be a new promoter coming up trying to push something else, new venues, the way the sanctioning bodies is probably gonna be some more of them coming out the woodwork too, which I think not good.
I think that comment, if I remember in the interview, it was leading from, he was talking about the fact that at some point, he might have to just say fuck the belts. Because he was saying like these sanctioning bodies, they want to dip your hand in their pocket and they don't take any of the risk.
Yep.
Right? So they're just like, yo, I just want my percentage of the money. I don't care if you did good or not. I want my money. Like the WBA came out, the president, and he was like, he doesn't understand why everybody's saying there should be 1 champion for each division. He essentially said that Promoters do better when there's a belt on the line. Shows do better when there's a belt on the line. So as far as he's concerned, everybody should have a fucking belt.
No fighter left behind belt.
No fighter left behind. It's fucked up, right? These sanctioning bodies ain't shit.
Participation belts out here. Yeah. But you know what is cool about what's happening is now these guys are being held accountable for it. And now they are hitting sanctioning bodies in the pocket. Some of these fighters. So, I mean, I think that's cool. I think that the settlement that, you know, No Doubt Trout got I think that was a victory for boxing. You know?
Yeah.
That was a victory for boxing because now they are being held accountable and they are getting hit in the wallets and now they're switching their tune. Same with Dylan White and his team. They put it together. So Suleiman all of a sudden changed his tune. Well, now you got to fight this guy. See? So now they're feeling it in their pockets, and that's what it is. If you pressure these guys and you hold them to the fire, they gonna give some shit up too, you know. And while they're working on an angle to get out of it, things is gonna straighten up a bit, and then you know what I mean. You just watching them, you watching it unfold, and I think that it's good for the fighters today that these guys were willing to stand up and don't, you know, one guy's gonna get a shot and one guy's just getting a boatload of money and saying, there, now I ain't even have to fight for you. Ain't no sanctioning fees. I don't owe you nothing. You just gotta pay me. And this is how you gonna pay me, either a lump sum or annual payment.
Wow. Either way, you gonna pay it though.
Yeah, I love it though. I do, because these guys were wronged in the way that they have it. And there's Angel says it all the time. There's rules and regulations set in place for a reason. And when these guys try to switch it up and work their angles and do things of that nature, what you got is they got caught out there with their hand in the cookie jar, and now they got to hand out cookies. So, so it's good, man. It's good. I think it's great for boxing, and I'm happy for No Doubt Trout. I mean, look at that man's resume.
What happened with Trout?
I think he got like 40 mil.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yep. Because a sanctioning body skipped over him or something of that nature.
But 1-2, did they grant him? Did they award him the case already, or was it that? Because I think it was dismissed at first. I do know at one point it was dismissed, and then he went to take it back in because they was like, well, he didn't have a valid case against him. But now they're saying, no, he does have a valid case, and that they allowed him to take it back. Now, that is the settlement amount, but did they award him that already?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. But what I am saying is this. That's the type of pressure that needs to be put on these bodies to make it work.
That's effect, because they were dismissing those cases left and right, and they weren't allowing them to be heard. And Trout and his team said no. So now it's on the books. No, you guys will allow these cases to be heard. You will be held accountable. And so it just opened the door. And I think just like what you said, that's had a lot to do with Suleiman saying, nah. Make them fight.
Yeah, you know, and I think Teddy Atlas said it a while back that they don't have a controlling like body to keep everybody in check. Boxing's one of the only sports without that, and this is gonna kind of straighten things out because these people are just willing to go in and fight for themselves, and that's a good thing to have. But I mean, that's what it is. There's nobody on these sanctioning bodies. There's nobody on these promoters. There's nobody really holding them accountable. And so when these people are holding them accountable for it, you know, that's what it is, man. The loopholes are getting few and far in between. So now we're going to be getting certain fights, and these sanctioning bodies got to make it work. They got to get the people what they want. You put a little pressure on them, you know what I'm saying? And it hits them in the pockets, and then all of a sudden they get on the right track. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
I like that. I like the movement, you know. As for the outcome, hopefully it works out in a boxer fan's favor. the hardcore fans favor because you know, it's the hardcore boxing fans that are putting out the channels and that are supporting the channels and are pushing, you know, boxing, promoting and within itself, you know, for the sport. And we don't want to see it go to shit. And that's why we all get together, we debate, we go back and forth about fighters or what have you. But it's keeping the sport alive too, in a sense, you know, even if we don't agree with it. So I think it's cool that the whole setup. I think the boxing community is on point right now. You know what I'm saying?
Samuel Shaw says he wanted an appeal to take it back to court. I don't think he was awarded $40 million.
Yeah. That's what. Okay, that's what I thought. It was something like that. He won because they were dismissing these. Like these cases weren't even being given an opportunity. So it's a huge win because now it's letting them know that look, no, these cases will be heard. Y'all not just gonna keep kicking these cases to the side like y'all not doing shit. So we see what's going on. So now we're gonna look into these cases and start hearing these cases. And that alone is what's putting the pressure on them because before they just basically were comfortable. I don't care, take it to court. Because if you say that and then they try to take it to court and then that just no, we're not gonna hear this case. So then it makes it feel like hopeless, like there's nothing you can do about it. But now they're like, oh no. We will hear these cases. And now it's like, oh damn. But we know we're doing wrong already. No. We can't let them do that. You know what I mean? So by winning that right, now it's like, oh shit, we got to tighten up because now they're gonna actually entertain these cases that they're bringing our way. Before they weren't even being entertained, so it made the fighters and those guys feel hopeless. Like shit, ain't really much we could do about it because even if we take them to court, ain't shit gonna be done. Well, now shit's being done, and now everybody's scared.
Yep, straightening people out. And that's what I mean. That's just like, you know, a little
I like that shit.
I do like too, and I hope he gets to 40 mil.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, he put in enough work and he put in enough shows to
or at least
something like that.
15 mil, you know what I mean? 17 mil. I hope he gets something. You know what I mean? Because look, let's be real. Even if they awarded that bitch 17 million, he'll be happy. He ain't got 17 million now.
Well, yeah, he'll be happy, but I'm just saying, if it paid tenfold for, you know, what he put himself through, and he been in there with huge names. He was the other side of the show. He was the one that made the fight just as entertaining as the guy on the other side of him. So why not?
All right.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying one, two. If you look at like, let's say 17 mil, they say, okay, well, we're not gonna give you 40, we'll give you 17 mil, right? And you take on his resume, his top 4 fights, that probably still won't cover 17 mil. So it'll be a good settlement for him. I mean, 40 mil is somewhat excessive because it's, to me, I'll tell you like this, and I'm pretty sure the courts would probably see it this way when it comes down to it. 40 mil is somewhat excessive because you're saying you're projecting what your career would have been. You don't know if you would have beat those guys. Okay, so if they didn't move the way they moved, and he did get those opportunities where he had beat the champions. This is Austin Trout we're talking about. Well, so you're going, and I'm just saying, like, from the perspective of just giving him 40 mil, because once you do that, and this is how the court systems work. Once you do that, you kind of lay a principle. So then you'll have the fight. Look at the problem we have in boxing now, where these fighters are not doing what they're supposed to do. We don't want a culture where these lazy fuckers just try to wait and get in a situation, then start suing for big money. So they got to make the settlement or whatever the judgment is reasonable. And when we look at Austin Trout, like, would he have been that $40, $50 million guy, even if they did overlook him with all the fighters we see in boxing? Probably not. So 17 million, 15 million, whatever they decide to give him, I can guarantee you a lot of that is going to play a factor in not just awarding him 40 million, because the next case they open, you know, you get these cases like this, it lays precedence for the next case that's similar.
Yes, that's precedent.
Don't want to just allow anything because it'll lay precedent for the next person to sue.
I understand your point, but my point is this: if that's the case, well, then why there's fighters out there making 30, you know, $30-40 million a fight. And are they putting in more work than Austin Trout? Or
No,
and if he did get in there, and if he did get in there and he did fight these guys and he did pull off a win, according to us, would he get the win?
Well, here's the thing.
So why not give him the 40 mil? Why not let justice be served?
Okay, because here's the thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you one, too, kid. What is it that Austin Trout is doing, fam? Like, let's look at guys, and I'm talking about just from your perspective. Let's look at guys in boxing right now. You know, like Spence ain't got 40 million. I could give you, what I'm saying is this. I could give you a lot of guys in boxing right now that's doing more and have done more than Trout that are not producing 40 million. So why give him 40 million on a hypothetical? Because a lot of Trout's argument is
why give certain people a certain amount of money for the way that they look instead of the way that they fight? You know, you know what I mean? So
what do you mean? Like what? Like what is it?
Like if you look at there's certain people who get signed with different contracts that have the look, that have the, you know, the pizzazz, the certain, you know,
that has to do with the promotional company. His beef is with the sanctioning body. So I understand your point on what the promotional companies decide to do, what type of fighter they decide that, but that doesn't have anything to do with the trial. The trial is against the sanctioning body.
Right, but it's against the sanctioning body. Why?
Listen, it's against the sanctioning bodies because of what the sanctioning body did to block his career.
Right.
You can't put on, like, say Bob Arum, top rank, wants to pick this fighter over Trout to represent or push because the sanction, like that's two different situations. You gotta go. Who
controls the sanctioning bodies?
What the sanctioning body did.
But who controls the sanctioning body?
The sanctioning body. Period. This them. You can't, like, you think you can take in the court case. Oh, well, we know Bob Arum, they do what Bob Arum want. You gotta have evidence of that. That's just not gonna work in court. And the only thing that's valuable in court is what the sanctioning body did to him. So if these promoters discriminate for whatever reasons they want to discriminate, that has nothing to do with the 40 million they should award him. They should award him.
I look at it like wrong is wrong, right is right. And if motherfuckers is doing people wrong, they should be hitting the head tenfold for doing it.
Right, and
they don't do it again. So that'll give people opportunity and hope that they will get that opportunity, because it's going to cost them just as much to fund the fighter and to give a fighter back by doing them, by, you know, just doing injustice to a certain person. So they basically bigging up certain people and bigging up their sanctioning bodies by making certain people champions and giving people opportunities and shunning other people. And that has a lot to do with promoters and networks pushing and you know, doing shit, and you saying proof and all that. But come on, man, it is what it is. It's clear as day whether you got proof in court or not. What I'm trying to say is it's a victory for the injustices that happen in boxing. And I'm not going to sit here and say that man don't deserve $40 million if he never even made that amount of money, because I didn't see him not doing anything that nobody else wasn't doing. I didn't see him not fighting the same competition that nobody else was doing. So that's my point. That's the point that I'm trying to make. And if they did try to shun him or slight him in any way, shape, or form, then these guys these contenders that are coming up ain't gonna get that no more, because they know they could get hit in their pockets. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that point, bro. I'm just saying, if the courts award this man 40 million based on some of the things that the promoters and the networks are responsible for, that they can't lay that principle, because then people can sue one entity based on what promoters and networks are doing too. You see what I mean?
Well, then they're gonna have to straighten out the game.
Why you were talking? So, like, if Austin Trout gets away with this, then it's the courts that's going to allow other people to get away with that. And you can't do that. That's like you being involved in a deal and you do everything you're supposed to do. and then somebody sues 2 other people that did all wrong, but they're making you pay. You ain't gonna like that shit then. But now you're saying it's cool with the sanctioning bodies because we know all of the bullshit that's going on. Well, the court systems cannot lay that precedence, fam, because we know for a fact that it has a lot to do with some of the things that the promoters are doing and some of the things that the networks are doing. So I'm not disagreeing with your point or anything. What I'm saying is when he goes blasting off asking for a certain amount of money, and it's not all based on what the network did, what the sanctioning bodies did to him. If the courts award him for all of his complaints and give him the whole amount that he's crying for, and they look through the case and it's not all on the sanctioning body, well, he's suing the sanctioning body. So he should only be able to hold them accountable for what they're accountable for. And the court is going to say, well, we're only going to pay you the portion of what they are accountable for. We're not going to grant you anything that promoters and networks, because if they lay that principle in that court case, then other people can come behind and sue, and then there'll be a big injustice against sanctioning bodies because they're going to be carrying the weight of what promoters and networks are doing. Like the courts can't lay that kind of principle, whether we feel is moralistically correct or not. They can't lay that kind of principle, man.
Well, I'll put it like this then. If that's the case, where was all the crying when he was going through the shit? And where was all the defense when he was going through the shit? And where was all the people representing Austin Trout in his case? Where was the people who said, yo, this is wrong, whatever, boom, 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 boom? Wasn't nobody hearing about it? It was kept on the hush. He was trying to get the shit done. He put in the work. He got it. If he get 40 million, God bless him. That's all I'm saying. And you know what? And then that'll straighten up the sanctioning bodies to where they're going to be squeaky clean. They ain't going to be able to be doing no backdoor shit because they can be like, nah, this shit's costing us too much money. We ain't getting caught out in no shady shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm looking at it. That's it. You know what I mean? That's the result of doing shady shit. So that's what you get. You know what I mean? That's what you get. And if that man gets $40 million, good. I'm happy for him. Shit.
Well, I guarantee you, if he get 15 million, these sanctioning bodies are going to feel the same way because 15 million times 10 is 150 million. And they don't want to take that kind of hit either. So the courts are still going to give them a reasonable amount. Like 40 million would be excessive with all the complaints. Like, you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. And even at 15 million, 10 million, that's still going to make a statement. Hell, the fact that he's able to try the case, look at how effective it is. The fact that he's able to try it, because like we said before, they were dismissing it. So it's already effective enough. We don't need like this super big settlement because it's already effective. Just him having the ability to even try the case, that was a win already. But to give him like some super excessive amount that's not even necessary because he's already winning. So if they give him 10, 15 million, that's even more because now they're going to hear the case and they'll award them money. And like I said, when you start saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 fighters, that's 150 million. Even if it's a 10 million, that's $100 million. These sanctioning bodies not trying to take those kind of hits. They're not even trying to have the case be heard.
Well, I'll put it like this: if you lose $10 or you lose $40, if you lose $10 doing something that you ain't supposed to be doing, you can be like, it was $10. You lose $40, you be like, damn, I ain't doing that shit ever again. That's how I'm looking at it. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
But I hope Austin Trout win the goddamn case. These sanctioning bodies been bullshitting long enough. And as someone said earlier, that's a win for boxing. Fuck
that's
the
right.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, I ain't really had much else to say. I wanted to go in on the BFTB sex scandal, pedophilia shit, and I wanted to talk about Eddie Hearn. That's all I got. Anything else y'all want to talk about?
I mean, shit, I always just jump on to talk about whatever your topic is, fam. You know, there's a lot of things to talk about. We've been talking about all kind of stuff, but a lot of people have been talking about that other situation, which I'm glad you won't really on that shit because I'm tired of talking about that little dude, man.
Nah, man, that dude, fuck that guy, man. For real, and his whole organization, man. Them people ain't shit.
Yeah.
And fuck the sanctioning bodies.
Oh, well, definitely that.
Yeah, fuck the sanctioning bodies, the promoters, the networks, all of them. I mean, they're all necessary evils of the sport. I mean, we gotta have them, and we hate them. I mean, shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. Y'all in the chat, y'all in the panel. Thank y'all for joining me today, man. I appreciate that.
Thanks for having
All right,
me on.
brother.
You guys
Yeah,
have
man.
a good one. Later, chat.
Peace, peace.
Wow.
Yeah.